So I decided it was time to update my cordless tools. The stuff I was using is all 15, 20 years old. Here's an example. It's a tool shop 18-volt lithium-ion drill. It has worked, but it's time to upgrade. And so I decided after long research to do the Bauer tools. Each one of these tools, I bought 3 of them, were 40 bucks a piece. I joined the Inside Track Club, so they were 15% off that. I can't do that kind of math in my head. I also bought these WAITELY DeWalt batteries. Again, a lot of research. WAITELY has a very good reputation online for being a good aftermarket battery. Maybe not quite as good as a DeWalt, but very good batteries. So I'm going to do a series of videos where I will give you very detailed instructions on how to fit a DeWalt battery into a Bauer power tool. There's some minor adjustments you got to do down here, and then you got to crack them open, and there's a minor adjustment inside. So I'll get to all of those. I'll put the links down there, and you can go into each one individually. If you don't like doing that, maybe you're not comfortable cracking these guys open and grinding on your brand new power tools like I am, you can get this adapter. I believe I paid $16 for this. And this adapter will just click into your power tool, then you can put the battery right on the bottom, and they work. I don't like the extra height and having to buy one of these adapters for each one of my tools. You know, I'll lose them or whatever. So that's why I'm gonna go buy and convert each one of these 3 power tools into taking this battery without the adapter. So I'll put the links down below and you can go check all those out. Hey, if you like what you see here or you found it interesting or useful, why don't you give that subscribe button a click, maybe give us a like, maybe hit the little bell thingy, lets you know when we put up new videos. What? Huh? Oh, my lawyer would like a word with you.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Factory Bauer 20-volt cordless tool. Factory copy of DeWalt battery. It doesn't fit on there. I want to use a DeWalt battery on a Bauer tool. Now, I have this adapter. This adapter does work. Don't get me wrong. Okay? This thing works. It's just that it makes it taller, and to some, they think big deal, whatever. This thing was 15 bucks, okay? But I don't want to have to use that. I want to be able to snap this battery right out of this tool, and it won't go on. So let's see if we can make it go on. Okay, so here's the tool, here's the battery. Won't go on. I'm going to try to get you in here super close, because I can see what's going on, but I don't know if you can. Right in here, it's hitting a little piece of plastic on this battery. I know we're going to have to do a number of things, okay? I will show you here. This piece right here is hitting, see if I get the light in there, this corner right here. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to grind that down a little bit. I also know just by looking at it that they have this stop right here, this thing that sticks out right here. I'm going to have to take that off. I'm trying to do this in the least invasive way possible. So we'll take this off and we'll take this off. Other videos that I've seen, a guy gets in there with a utility knife and takes it off. I'm going to try to be, like I said, the least invasive I can be, and I'm going to get in there with a Dremel tool and a drum sander. Okay, my first go round, it's slipping past that first stop, and now it's stopping on this thing right back here, the one I told you I'd have to take off. This guy. So let's take him off. Nice sharp sanding disc. Okay, so now it's gone past the first two, but look, the last one here. This guy right here, the front of the tool, the front right here is hitting right here. So it's just touching. I want to go to right about here, so that looks like about 1/8 of an inch. That's not too bad. I am going to do that on my belt sander, I think. Okay, here is my belt sander, a fairly worn 80 grit belt on it. Let's triple check. Yeah, I'm seeing right where I have to grind it, and we'll take it slow. Okay, so on the drill driver here, we have gotten to the point where the battery fits in there, and we know it's making contact because the little light comes on. So it physically fits in there. Now we got to open this guy up and do some modifications on the inside to make the battery work. You're going to need a T10 bit and a driver, and undo all of these T10 bits here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Oh. Then, because I can't make it easy, you're going to need a T15 to get at least these two out. So let's try that. One. Two. We'll put those in a separate pile because they're T15s. All right. Very gently pry this guy open. There we go. Drop those screws out. And that's what it looks like inside. So what we're interested in is the stuff down here. As you may recall, there was a 10K resistance between the negative one, the negative tab here, and the third one. So let's try to very gently pull this out. Okay, there's a big aluminum piece here that is apparently some sort of heat sink. So between this guy, third one, let me use a pointer here. Between this guy here and the negative, there's 10K, there was 10K resistance on the converter battery pack. So we know that that's got to be 10K. So let's cut that wire. And you can see in this one, it is a yellow wire, okay? And we need to take a 10K resistor. In this case is a 10K metal oxide resistor. You can use the carbon ones, they're tan colored. You can use these, the ones I have are 1 watt, but you can use the 1/4 watt or the 1/2 watt ones also. It doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter is because I think that these are just information ones. They're obviously, the negative and a positive are the power, and this one's just an information one. And I don't know if they do that, why they do that. Do they do that? Do they make them different, or for the batteries because they don't want you using the other guy's batteries? Bauer doesn't want you using DeWalt batteries. I don't know. I would think that that is why, but I don't know for sure. So what we want to do is we want to get 10K between this negative and this yellow wire. In the drill driver, the wire is yellow. So what we're going to do, I got that cut and I got the end stripped away just a little bit. And now we're going to take a new razor blade and we're going to strip away some of the insulation of this wire. What I would like to do is just do it right here, you know, from here to here, but there's no exposed wire there, okay? There's nothing there. There's nothing to solder to. So what I have to do is I have to strip this wire a little bit, and then you can see right here, I cleaned it away. I'm going to do it a little bit more maybe. With a razor blade. Let's see if I can not cut myself when I do this. So that I will be able to run the wire, be able to run a resistor from the yellow wire to this part that I have stripped away here. All right? In order to facilitate that, I'm going to use a little flux. This is just plumber's flux. It helps, what it does is it helps the solder stick to whatever it is that you're sticking it to. Okay? I have my flux and my solder and my soldering iron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-solder the tip of the iron. There we go. And I'm going to pre-solder the tip of this wire, and I'm going to put a little solder in here. This one has me worried because I'm going to burn away that insulation. And you got to get the wire hot enough to melt the solder, not just the tip of the iron. And that flux helps with the flow. I can smell that insulation burning and the wire still isn't hot enough. Let me try stripping some more away from that wire there. I'm trying to do this as non-invasively as I can. I'm trying to cause as little damage as I can in there. I don't even know if it'll work yet. Get some more flux on there. And we'll heat that wire up. There we go. Now it took some of that solder in there. All right, good deal. Okay, now what we're going to do, again, I'm going to try to be as least invasive as I can. So I'm going to cut these leads a little shorter. I'm going to tin them up. I'm going to dip the lead in my flux each side. And a resistor is non-polarized. You can put it in either way, this way or this way. All right, so let's get some solder on the tip of these guys. There's one. Here's two. Okay. All right, now let's solder this guy in place. I'm gonna get some solder on the tip of my iron. I'm gonna put him against this yellow wire here. So that's soldered together. Okay. And I'll put the other side against that spot right there. There we go. So he is 10K resistor is soldered in there. And guys, if you use my tools, if you use your tools like I use my tools, you beat on them quite a bit, okay? So make sure that those solder connections are really good as you can make them, okay? So you don't want that thing coming unsoldered. That would be very disappointing should that become unsoldered when you need it. All right, now since we have this big aluminum conductor heatsink, we are going to use some electrical tape to insulate those connections. What are we going to do? You can use, they have liquid insulation, they have all sorts of stuff. I didn't want to cut this wire, otherwise I would have put some heat shrink tubing on there, but I didn't want to cut that one. I just wanted to trim off a little bit because, again, I'm being as least invasive as I can. Okay, so now I'm just going to put some electrical tape in here. And I'll put one more, I'll put a little bit more on there. I wanted to get the first one with the adhesive to the adhesive because it'll stick real good. And now I'll wrap it this way. All right, maybe it doesn't look as professional as it could, but I believe it will get the job done, and I know that solder joint is good. All right, let's try to put her back together. We'll very carefully put this guy on. Get this direction switch lined up correctly. We'll get the heat sink and this guy lined up correctly. There we go. Looks good, looks good. Okay, he looks good. You know, even before I put these screws in, what I think I'm going to do is try a battery real quick. Keep your fingers crossed. Here we go. There you go. Let's make sure that light goes out after a couple 20 seconds. Don't drain my battery. There we go. Looks like it's going to work. Let's put her all together and give it the final check. Okay. We're going to go the T15s first. Here. And then we'll go all of these T10s. Swap out the T10, push them together. I like to do this by hand instead of by driver, even though they have the clutch on them. You know, you get a much more tactile feel for how tight everything is going. With these brand new tools like this, I don't want to strip out any of those holes. Also, they're nice enough to make all of these the same length. So you don't got to worry about which ones are going in where. They're all the same length. There you have it. Done. Let's check her again. Forward, backward, high speed, low speed. Light, go out about 10 seconds, right? 5, 4, 3, there we go. Okay, everything works, couldn't be happier. Fits nice, it's not sticking out farther. 1 down, 2 to go. All right, kind of a quick after action. Could not be happier with the results on this thing. Everything seems to work good. You can get, I'll have links for all this stuff, but these are 10K resistors. You get whatever ones you want. I'll put a link of the ones I use. You don't have to use these ones, but I'll put a link in the description. And join me for the other two. I don't know yet because I haven't cracked open the impact, the 1/4 inch impact, nor have I cracked open the angle grinder to see if the wires are the same color or how that's all done. Probably are, but we don't know. So let's get into those.